Y'all, do you coon hunt and bear hunt, or you just strictly bear hunt?
Yeah, we coon hunt like when the bear season's out.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll probably start back in October. We do that mainly with the young dogs. We got to take one older dog with us to get the young ones going.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then we hunt about October, November, and then the bear kill season starts, and then we start back over in January after the bear season's over.
Guys, today on the journey, we're going to go up to Madison County, Virginia, which is about a 3-hour drive from here where I'm at. And I want to tell you about these wonderful people that I met about 2-3 years ago. I got a text message through Messenger, and Jason Woodward had texted me and asked me if I would be interested in coming up and judging their APH show. And you guys know that I'm a bench show. I'm a master of hounds. So I still stay involved with the UKC stuff. I really enjoy judging dogs. Conformation to me is a big part of my breeding program. So I accepted the invite. Me and the girls drove up and met Jason and Katie, and they had a big showing up there for it was the APH Plott days, right, for Virginia?
Yes, it was a Dixie Classic.
Dixie Classic, yeah. So we judged the dogs. They had a lot of dogs. I mean, there was probably, 20 or 30. There was quite a bit. Had a good showing for the dogs. And, our relationship's kind of carried from there. This year they invited me down to Greenville, Tennessee to do the breed days down there. Went down there and judged. And I just got to say, before we get this started, that I have picked 2 of the dogs that placed at Autumn Oaks this year. So I'm pretty proud of myself.
You done very good. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I picked Scott's Bendy female, which I fell in love with when I saw her at your place a couple years ago. And I picked your female this year down at Breed Days. And I see that she... Go ahead.
Yeah, she won National Grand Show Champion of Opposite Sex for the Plott breed, and then Scott's female won the overall National Dual Championship.
Yeah, so Maddie and I had went into the building when they were picking the group that Scott was in, and Maddie's like, Dad, that's the dog that you picked. And I said, I know. And we sat there and looked at the dogs, and I noticed one of the dogs there. Scott McBride had a dog, a black and tan female on the end that I had noticed, and I went down the line, and the judge she had made her loop, she had picked up the trophy, and Mad's like, what's he gonna do? And I'm like, she's going with Scott. She's like, you think she is? And I'm like, I would. I said, if I was picking, that's the dog I'd go with. And sure enough, she walked right over there and give it to Scott. And I mean, I was tickled for him. I give Pal a rough time about Plotts. But Plotts are what started me into hunting. That's what I got my start with. And even though I rag on him pretty hard, and some of the other guys around here about their Plott dogs, they're kind of a staple for me. I'm partial to them. I can't help it, even though I'm running a bunch of tricolored Holsteins right now. But there's a place in my heart for a Plott dog, and man, she looked good, and she deserved that win. So kudos to them for that.
Yeah, I went on the hunt on that Thursday night that Scott won to place in that, be able to show that next day. So I was on that hunt with him that night.
Oh, awesome. Great. Well,
yeah, we drove out to Shelby, Indiana. It was 3 dogs in that cast, and he ended up winning the cast with, I think it was 350 plus points.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he was showing me some videos up there, and like I said, that's been not this year, not last year, before last. He was showing me some videos. She was young. She was in that year and a half range, and I was like, man, if I could get my hands on a dog like that, I'd buy it. Because that's what what I'm looking for. But yeah, before we get any deeper into this, Jason, you and Katie just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do. You guys are really big in the the coon hound show world. I mean, Katie travels all over. You know, I see your faces on a lot of Facebook feeds and stuff. So just tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is Jason Woodward, 45 years old, born and raised in Madison, Virginia. Probably started coon hunting with my dad, probably, I don't exactly remember the year, but it's probably about as soon as I could walk. And he didn't have Plott dogs back then. He liked black and tans, so I hunted with some black and tans, and then he had a couple walkers, and I guess it was back in 1997 I decided I wanted to start bear hunting. So then I ended up getting a female. She came from Jessie Lamb. She was half Leroy Hog swampland breeding off the old Kelly dog.
Mm-hmm.
And her bottom side was Pocahontas breeding from Eugene Walker. And I got her started on bear. She was already running rabbits when I got her, and that made her an exceptional track dog. And I really liked her, and I ended up making a trip out to Leroy's in Ferdinand, Indiana, and visiting with him for a while. I think that was in 1999, and I bought 2 pups from him, and that was pretty much my start.
And you know, bear wasn't there. They weren't plentiful here in those years that you started.
No, there wasn't. No, we didn't have near the bear then, like we have now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they was 2 really good dogs that I got from Leroy, and they was litter mates, but they really wasn't much alike. The male, he was real slow starting. I called him Tiger, and I'd say he was probably a little bit over a year old, year and 4 or 5 months probably before he started. And the Lily female, she was a real quick starter, but she didn't have the nose that the male had. And but it seemed like once I got Tiger started, like the first time that he went was actually on a bayed bear. And it seemed like from then on, you could just take him and turn him loose, and he knew what to do. And that kind of sold me on him, and I raised a few pups here and there. And then in 2005, I bought a male from Jerry Gosnell, Rag Mountain Gray Boy,
mm-hmm.
and I added that into my lines, and I really like what I got from that.
And is that your line still today?
Yeah, I got that still today. It's on back in there pretty good, but it's there. I made a really good cross on Gray Boy to a daughter of my Tiger male, and that clicked really good. 6 months old, they would run and tree their own bear.
Oh, wow.
But far as I know, there's only one living dog from that litter today, and I got that there at the house.
Well, and Katie, what about you? Tell us your story.
So I started coon hunting with my dad. We hunted redbone, and I had never went bear hunting before until I met Jason around 2012. But before that, I got my first redbone show dog around 2007, I'd say. And she was just a local level show dog. And I ended up getting something a little better around probably, 2009. And then we raised a litter of pups off of her and got some more national level dogs. And then I kind of just lost interest in the red bones and showing. And I started bear hunting more. And then we got the Nikita dog in 2016. And that's when I really wanted to be more involved with the Plotts.
Mm-hmm.
That started my love for the Plotts. And she was from Dan and Jonah Place.
Where are they out of?
They're out of Wisconsin.
Okay.
So Jason had went hunting with them a couple times, and they sent one of their puppies down here and fell in love with her. And that's actually how I got started in showing the Plotts. We showed and bear hunted her.
Yeah, okay. And for some reason, it seems like I've either seen that dog or maybe I've just heard you guys talk about it.
Yeah, her first big win was she won overall champion female at Grand American. And she was at the time one of our best bear dogs, still is one of our best bear dogs. And we just got really lucky with her.
Yeah, I think, for me, having a dog that actually does what it's supposed to in the woods and can win on a bench is like, it's like the perfect storm for me. Like that's something, yeah, like that's what we should all strive for. I mean, I know that may cause hard feelings or whatever, but I like the concept of, yep, it performs in the woods and it also looks good. That's something I want to breed to, or that's something that I want something out of that can perform in both.
I agree. And, the hunting increase within yours does hurt her now. But she did really, really well before she got injured in the woods.
What happened to her?
So we were hunting and the bear came down the tree, and of course they got into a tussle and it punctured her lungs and broke a couple ribs. Like, we didn't know if we'd get her out of the woods. We ended up having to carry her out, rushing her to the emergency vet, and she was out for probably 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And she came back, but you can tell where she's, like, it affected her gait a little bit, and she has kind of a hole on her side. Even though it's healed, you can still see the hole. Well,
because the ribs never form back.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that show, and I always most time try to brand my bear dogs on their hip, like if I put a JW on it, and she'll go to these bench shows and confirmation shows, and people will say, "What is that on that dog's hip?" I don't know how many times I've had to explain that to people, what that actually is.
The freeze brand, yeah. Yeah. If I keep a dog, if he's gonna stay at my place, then I put a H in their ear. And of course I don't show like you guys, so it doesn't affect mine, but I feel like they're gonna have to cut their whole ear off to get away with that one. So,
but what's funny about it is the bench show people. I don't know if it's the correct word to say, but they don't really recognize that as being something it needs to be. But it seems funny that the confirmation side really respects that.
The Journey on Houndsman XP has teamed up with One TDC. This dual-action support for oral health and mobility in our dogs. This unique supplement is so effective that it is recommended by top veterinarian experts worldwide to maintain and improve our dog's health in 4 different areas. Their oral health, hips, joints, and muscles, skin, coat, energy, and recovery. Guys, I've been using this product for the last 6 months, and it has been a game changer for me. If you're looking for something to help with the overall health of your dog, go to worksowell.com and give this product a try. It is highly recommended by Houndsman XP here on The Journey. Mm-hmm. Well, they know that dog holds value.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And like we said all along, we don't brand dogs, just to be branding them. They've got to earn the brand. If they got a brand, they're staying.
Yep, that's exactly right. I've cut 3 in my kennel right now that when I branded the last time, I didn't brand them because I wasn't sure. Well, I just didn't know. I'm like, and a lot of people, they don't want to buy a dog off of you and they'd have a big H plastered on its ear. So, right. But I've got 3. 2 of them's earned their keep. So 2 of them will get branded after season goes out, and we'll move forward. So, you guys tell us a little bit. Y'all are heavily involved in the APA. Talk to us about that. Talk to us about what your your place is, what you do, what your future plans are.
Well, I have been attending the American Plott Association Breed Days event since 1998, and so far have not missed a year on it. So that's kind of what I plan my vacation around. I mean, if that's what you want to call it, but I just mainly volunteer, just do what I can do to help them out. My wife, Katie, she's the vice president. She can tell you more about that part. But I guess it's been about 6 years ago now. Our club, our local coon club, was just kind of sitting vacant and wasn't nobody really doing anything with it. And Katie's dad, Rob Jenkins, he was the president at the time. And I spoke with him. I said, how about if I can get David Williams, which he's the president of APA, on board with doing a Dixie Classic event at our club to start things back up for us, would y'all be interested in doing that? And he said, yeah, if you can get that done. So that was actually a big kickstart back off for the Orange County Coon Hunters Association when we held that first Dixie Classic 6 years ago. And so David got on board with it. He made things happen. I mean, we got the wheels turning, and we actually held the event within a month of when I first contacted him about it. And we held all the bear bayings there at our club and field trial, of course, the water race and bench shows. And now we've added a confirmation show there. And I think they're talking about doing a confirmation show also down at Breed Days this year, too, along with the bench show.
Nice.
So, yeah, so I've been I guess you'd say involved since 1998. I volunteer where I can. I can hold an office since Katie's in as an officer.
Mm-hmm.
Because be a conflict of interest or whatever, but I just volunteer what I can. I really like the APA and support them all that I can. And it's a really good organization. It's for the big game hunters. I'm a member of the National Plott Hound Association, too, and I'm support both of them, but to me it just kind of seems like the NPHA is a little bit more towards the coon hunting side, and I think that's where the APA comes in as being like the big game hunter side.
Do you like to be outside like I do, hunting, fishing, hiking? If so, Onyx is the app for you. I've been a loyal Onyx user for years. It's the one app that I can honestly say I use daily. While hunting, I know where I'm at all times. I mark trails, bedding areas, feeding areas, and the list goes on. In my travels, I use it to pre-scout all the new places that I am blessed to hunt. Last year while hiking Yellowstone, I used OnX to map out the trails and know the difficulty of each one. And here's a secret. I mark all of my favorite fishing spots on OnX. It's been a game changer for me at work. I've used it multiple times to get in touch with property owners. Onyx has so many great features and tools, you can literally use it in your everyday life. It is by far the best mapping app on the market. And hey, it's approved by yours truly at Houndsman XP. So when you go to subscribe to Onyx, use our code HXP20 and get you a discount. So get your journey started with OnX and know where you stand.
But yeah, I've been there since they held that event. The first one I went to was located in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
Yep. Yep.
And then it got so big there where they was parking out on the highway and they had to move it. Then we went to, I think it was Gaffney over that way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they had held it there for quite a few years, and then it got really big for there too. So then we found Greenville, Tennessee down there, and that seems like it's worked out pretty good. Got the motels on grounds. It's just real handy place. Big spot. You can kind of spread out, and it's a big family reunion every year is what it is. I mean, it's a Plott reunion where you don't have to have a Plott to be there. Just any big game hunt.
Yeah.
And that's what's good about it. Any big game hound can compete. It don't matter whether it's a Plott or red bone, red tick, black and tan, walker, whatever.
Actually, when I was standing there at the shelter to do the show this year, I seen some blue dogs coming up to the tree where they were doing I guess it was the dash race or whatever. they had come in there and they was at the tree right behind where we were standing. So it was a pile of people there and a pile of dogs, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was. It seems to grow every year too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's been a couple. I'd went year before last, I guess I went and went down there and peeled around a little bit. And then last year I had to work, couldn't get off to go. And then this year you guys invited me down, so I come down and went. But I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy, like you said, I enjoy seeing people that I don't see all the time and, talking and meeting people. I mean, that's probably my favorite part of it. So.
Yeah, and actually, Katie and I's wedding was planned around the breed days event.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yep, this was the third weekend in March, and that's why I told her we would plan our wedding around that, and that would be our getaway every year for our anniversary. So our wedding was planned around breed days.
Well, you better be glad she enjoys it, that's for sure.
I tell him don't tell that story to anybody. He sounds like a cheapskate.
So Katie, how did you get involved with them, and how did you become the vice president, and what are some things that you guys are looking forward to in the future and stuff like that?
So I actually didn't go to my first breed days until we got married the weekend before, and then we went to Gatlinburg, and then we went to breed days. So that was my first breed days in 2012. 2012. And, or 2017. Yeah, 2017. I don't even know what year we got married. And I just enjoyed it. It reminded me of the Plott Hound Autumn Oaks. But like you said, there's so many different breeds that participate now. It's not just Plotts. And just the camaraderie. And then I started volunteering and getting involved. And I ran for vice president. So I've been the vice president for the 2022-2023 period. I'm not running this year, but I am running as a board of director. We have breed days as a UKC licensed event now, and we have the non-licensed events, and then we have a Dixie Classic, and then we take our store to the Wisconsin Bear Hunters Convention and the Tennessee Bear Hunters Convention. And then we also have the Hog Bay at Hickory Crossing still, and that normally happens in late April in Georgia.
And do you go to all those events?
I do not. We just make it to the breed days and the Dixie Classic. I'd love to go to the Hog Bay at Hickory Crossing because I've heard that's a lot of fun, but we haven't made it down there.
Right. So how will your role change if you get elected to the board? How will it change from vice president to the board?
It really won't change too much. I did keep the trailer, and we sell clothing items and memberships all year round. Like, I never imagined how busy it would be, but that trailer stays busy with selling items. So I pretty much kept that as vice president. So that's probably the only thing that'll change.
Well,
but we have about 600 members right now, and the most members come from Wisconsin and North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
I would think that West Virginia would have been in there.
I know.
Tennessee?
And Tennessee is a close third, but West Virginia actually has less members than Virginia.
Oh, wow. That's
I know.
Surprising.
Yeah, I thought so too. But this year, for 2022 breed days, we did a new thing called the Best of the Best Bay Off. So it's actually a cash prize involved now. They take the first place bay winners and put them up, and they do a bay off, and they have 3 different judges, and whoever wins that gets a cash prize now. So that's another incentive for the bear hunters.
Oh, wow. Well, and That it can be any breed, right?
Right. It can be any breed. And it's also another incentive to keep it happens. That's the last thing that happens on Saturday now.
I got you.
And I believe the cash prize was $500.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
That's a good incentive.
Yes. The lodging is available for breed days. It's a first come, first served basis. And we normally take reservations or reservation requests, because it's a limited basis, New Year's Eve of each year via Facebook.
What page is that on?
It's on the American Plott Association Incorporated Facebook.
I got you. Well, and I was going to say, I know just the several times that I've been around you guys up at your club and, of course, down in Tennessee, you guys are extremely busy. Like, y'all are heavily involved in everything that's going on. I mean, you were running back and forth doing this and doing that. Jason sat there with me and helped take entries for the bench show. Does that take the fun away from you guys? Because y'all are y'all are like the hub.
I think it doesn't really take the fun away because we enjoy it, but I think it takes the being able to sit down and actually interact with people. Because I feel like when we interact and have a conversation with people, because we're steady moving.
Right. And I mean, I know like at Autumn Oaks, y'all come by, but it was late in the evening. Everybody had pretty much cleared out. And I mean, there may have been some stragglers through there with you guys, but it was pretty much you guys and maybe one or two others. So y'all had probably been at it all day there too.
Yeah, that's the hard thing with Autumn Oaks, because the vendors close at 6, and by the time you get out from the show building at 2 or 3 and take care of your animals, and then you finally get to go look around, it's like everybody's shutting down.
Yeah. So how was the Autumn Oaks experience this year? I know, like I said, your little female won the national. Like, what else did you have going on? What were you guys doing? Did you have any other dogs there?
We took 6 dogs this year. We had 2 of our young males there, and Jason actually won best of breed in the open class with one of those. He's actually off of Donner, Scott and Connie Hogan's male dog, and then our Nikita female, a litter we raised in 2021. And then I showed Batman. He didn't win, but he lost to his half brother, so that was still a win for the kind of our little group. And then Carrie, she ended up winning National Grand Plott Hound, so that was really exciting. That was something I hadn't won before. Her sister won it last year. She won opposite sex, but she didn't win, the whole Plott Hound thing. But Carrie won the whole thing for the Plotts, and that was super exciting.
Yeah, I liked her when I seen her in Tennessee, and I think Hunter was showing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hunter was showing her, and I mean, I really liked her. She was the nicest dog there, and if I remember right, like you and Hunter both were showing the brothers, right? Or was Hunter showing a brother for somebody else?
Yeah, so I showed Batman, and then Hunter showed Tim, which is a littermate brother to Batman, and I think you were in between them both. You were like, they're so similar. They
were. I mean, I knew as soon as y'all put them up. I said, "There's littermates." Like I knew immediately that they were kin. Like there was no doubt about it.
Yeah, you could have went either way. They're so super nice.
Yes, they were. So, yeah. So let's talk a little hunting. Unless there's something else that you guys want to talk about as far as the APA, anything like that you want to touch on before we move on?
I think we pretty much covered it all pretty good.
I am disappointed. You guys from West Virginia got to get involved, man. I thought you guys would be leading the race on those memberships. I
thought it would be a huge membership from West Virginia. When we got to looking at it, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like, that's like Plott country. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it is. I mean, you know, the Walkers have been up there forever, and in fact, the last Plott I had was my buddy give me a puppy, and I kept him till he was about 14, 15 months old, and I give him back. I'm like, listen, he's just not going to suit me. But he was out of his mother, the pup's mother was the Redwood bred, and the female went back to Eugene stuff, and I don't remember which one. So I had that nice looking dog too, really nice looking dog. Had a good blocky head on him, you know, good hanging ear. Eyes were, you know, a lot of Plott eyes have those. I don't know what you look, the brown that looks like the ghost. The ghost eyes is what I call them. He had a real good dark eye. I mean, he's a brindled up dog, looked good, but yeah, he just I couldn't get him to do nothing. Like maybe if I'd have kept him a little longer, but I couldn't get him to do it. But the last dog I had went back to some of their stuff. So
Right.
So hunting. So let's talk about the hunting. You guys actually bear hunt, and I'm over the moon that you guys are hunting your show dogs. Like that, I mean, that's phenomenal. And you guys are actually, y'all coon hunt your young dogs. So you're kind of doing everything with these dogs, correct?
Yeah, we spend a lot of time. People would not realize how much time we spent with these hounds every evening. I mean, conditioning them, like you said, hunting them. And with the shows, you got to keep the nails trimmed pretty short. That can be a task with the Plott hound.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and then before the shows, she has to bathe them all, and it's a lot to it. Like I said, we do some coon hunting. We start around, when coon season comes in Virginia in October,
mm-hmm.
and we'll hunt our young dogs in that just to get them running a track and treeing some.
Yep.
And then we'll put them over on bear, like in our kill season that starts in December. And then after the bear season goes out around the second week of January, probably after Grand American, we'll start back coon hunting until it goes out in March.
Right. So I guess I'm going to back up because that just kind of provoked a question for me. So what all shows do you guys go to? So you just hit Grand America. Well, you know, we know you you go to Autumn Oaks. I know you were at Breed Days. Is there? And I'm assuming you guys are qualified for the World.
Yes, she is. She does have a dog qualified for the World. She'll probably end up going out there. We go. What's that one in Batesville, Mississippi? The Winter Classic. We go to that one. We go to several state shows, and we do some local shows just to try to help the local clubs out too, because a lot of people overlook that. They'll run to the big ones, which that's all fine and good, but without these smaller ones, the big ones wouldn't be a success.
Yeah.
So I think it's an important point for people to go to and support their local coon clubs.
Yeah, I know that. Of course, you know, I haven't competition coon hunted since 2004. That's when I stopped, and of course I started in the law enforcement world in 2003, and I just couldn't do it, working nights and doing everything else. So I kind of had to, you know, life had adjusted me a little bit. But I know that the clubs here that I used to hunt, one of them's just non-existent anymore. The membership dropped, and you know, there's nobody here doing it. The guys that were running it, you know, they've gotten up in age, and they can't maintain it anymore. So it's kind of sad to see that. But I went to another club here a while back and judged the show for them, and I was kind of disappointed that they only had 7 dogs showing. And then I done another club a year ago, and they only had 2 dogs showing. So Jason, what you're saying is right. You know, if you don't support the little guys, then they're just going to fade away, and then we're not going to have any of it.
Exactly. Yep. Our club is very fortunate. We have, I think it's around 25 members right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's steady growing. We're steady signing up different members that comes there and like what we're doing. We try to have something for everybody. We try to put on bear bays for the big game hunters. We try to put on bench shows, confirmation shows, night hunts, water race, and field trial. We try to do it all. And we try to get the kids involved. We do kids bench shows and stuff like that too. And we're talking about maybe doing the kids day down at the clubhouse where we got that real nice pond there, and they like to fish. So we're talking about maybe doing something with that for a youth day. We need to get the youth involved as well too.
Yes, so that's in any sport or a field hunting. I don't care what species, what game, whatever. But yes, we have to. I don't know if you've heard us talk about it or not, but the group that I hunt with is a very small group. There's like 6 or 7 of us core guys, and other than 1 or 2 of us, everybody's got kids, and I mean everybody goes. I mean on Saturdays, everybody it's family day basically. It's family day, and then when they're out for Christmas, that 2 weeks they're out for Christmas, they're pretty much with us the whole 2 weeks hunting. And I mean, that's what it's about for me is, I love the outdoors, and then it makes it even better that I get to spend the outdoors with my family. So
exactly. Yeah. So this coming year, 2024, we're gonna our local coon club there in Orange is gonna host the Virginia State Youth Championship.
Nice.
So we are going to try to make that as big and as good as possible for the youth. We're going to be going around looking for some donations for some nice prizes and stuff like that. So if anybody listening could help us with that, that would be excellent. If you want to call and donate something or whatever, and we'd be grateful for it.
And when is it going to be?
It's going to be I think it's April. She's looking up the exact date right now, but it's going to be in April of next year.
Okay, the spring. Now,
yeah.
Was that not when I was up there doing your y'all's the Dixie Classic? Was it not in April or May?
Yes, that was April. We usually have our Dixie Classic the first weekend in April,
mm-hmm.
and the Virginia State Youth will be the second weekend. So it'll be back-to-back weekends of events there at the clubhouse. Nice,
very nice. Yep. So while she's looking that up, let's go back to the dog. So when I firm believe in what you're doing. I used to coon hunt my dogs to get them started, and then I'd switch them over to bear. I don't have a dog that tree a coon anymore. I don't have, I used to have a coon dog with me all the time, and now I don't have that. So is that something that you guys have a specific dog that you use to get those pups started, or do you just take your bear dogs who you've started on coon and they'll still do it?
It's mainly that Nikita female.
Mm-hmm.
She treated her first coon at 6 months old by herself. And from then on, she's been treeing coons, but then I put her right on bear, and she really loves that. But I'd say she is the only dog that I have there at the house that I can go out and I can catch a coon with. And then I can go out the next day and she'll trail me an 8 to 10-hour-old bear track and jump it. So she's just an all-around good dog.
Those are hard to come by nowadays. That's for sure.
And she listens just like a kid. I can turn her loose from her kennel. She knows it's hunting time. She'll go empty out, and then she'll jump up on the truck. When the hunt's over, I can take her back to the house, drop my tailgate. She goes right back to her kennel.
Yeah.
I mean, just a pleasure to hunt and own and to be around.
So how many dogs are y'all running right now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm running 5 dogs on bear right now, and then I have several young dogs that I want to start this fall on coon with Nikita.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 5 in the bear pack right now.
And how many dogs are you showing?
she has 6 total that she shows. She don't show them all every time. She kind of picks and chooses where she wants to show what at.
So you're basically running you got about 12 dogs, 14 dogs kennel.
Yep, we have 14 dogs.
That's exactly where I'm sitting, and I'm sitting in a pile of young dogs that I'm trying to sort through. I know that I've got way too many young dogs, that's for sure.
Yeah, and people don't realize, too, it's a lot of upkeep to a hound. I mean, you got to keep it wormed out every month. You got flea and tick preventative to put on it every month. You got to feed it a really nice dog food and clean up from it and take care of it. It's a lot to do.
Well, they pick on me at work, Jason. When I leave work, I tell everybody, I said, I'm going home to do the chores. And they're like, chores? You live on a farm? I'm like, I live on a dog farm. I mean, time I come in, and I've got it down to pretty much, I'm sure you guys do too. I've got it down to a science. You know, I come in and I feed, and after I get everybody fed, I go through and I clean up the pens. And then after I get the pens clean, I do the water. And it's about a 45-minute job. Rain, snow, sleet, shine. Whether I'm sick, I don't feel good, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with what I do. And like I said, it's a 45-minute to do it and do it right. Now, I can shortcut if it's raining. A lot of times when it's raining, and I don't have a roof over my kennels. That's a huge problem for me that I'm going to try to work on this fall. I've got my 2 police dogs have the roofs that come with the kennel, but if you guys have them, you know the snow weighs them down, or the rain will weight them down and stuff. So they're not an end all fix all. They do okay, but and I keep sunshades up. Of course, I have shade too, but I keep sunshades up in the summertime and everything like that. But if it's raining, a lot of times I'll skip cleaning and I'll do it the next day. Or if it's not raining too bad, I just throw my rain jacket on and go do it. But yeah, I mean, it's a chore.
Yeah, ours is kenneled out in a wooded holler. I mean, it's a beautiful place to put dogs. You got perfect shade tree with all the poplar trees all around, and then we laid down a bed of rock dust. We put wire under that in case you have a digger where can't dig out. But like you said, we don't have roofs over our kennels either, and that's something we probably need to look into doing because it keeps you busy too, raking the leaves out so you can find their waste.
Yes, it does. And like I said, the trees are on the end of my kennel, so in the middle of it, it's kind of open. But yeah, you're right. So, so Katie, what is it about the dogs that drives you besides Jason?
I don't know. I think it's an addiction. And wanting to get the next, prospect and go to the next show. It's always something to look forward to. Like now that Autumn Oaks is over, I didn't enter anything in the World Show, but now that Autumn Oaks is over, it's like the next thing is going to be Grand American. We're going to have to get everything ready for that. So it's just always something to look forward to. And we don't raise very many litters because we don't like placing puppies. Like, I want to keep them all.
Mm-hmm.
So
you sound like my house.
Yeah.
That's why I've got 14 dogs, Katie. Nobody wants to get rid of anything.
Same. So that's an exciting part too. Like probably the next litter we will have is a litter off of Perry. And of course we're going to have to expand the kennel because I want to keep them all.
Yes, that's the same thing I'm in the process of right now. My little female, I've got my little female bred, and like I don't have any extra kennel, so when she has pups, I'm gonna have to expand somehow, some way, figure something out. Which I've already got it planned out. I just got to do it, and it's hard. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to do anything in bear season. Like
I know.
Like
it's crazy.
Yeah, every day that I'm not at work, I'm in the woods. And like today, I'll tell you guys, I'll just kind of tell you my day, how it went. So this morning, went up to an area that that I hunt a lot. And I don't know if you guys do a lot of rigging, but this time of year, rigging where I'm at is pretty productive. Well, this morning it was slow, so I had made a pretty good trip around the mountain. I mean, pretty good trip. And I had went all the way through, and I turned around, and my two buddies were back on the other side of the other mountain. So I was like, well, I'm just going to drive back around to them. Well, I got about halfway to them, and the dog struck. And I just come through there like 30, 40 minutes ago. So anyway, long story short, put the dogs down, and it took them about 2 minutes. My young dog's kind of running the road a little bit more than I liked. I wasn't real happy with that. My youngest female, of course, I'm hunting. I've got 2 1/2-year-olds, 2 2.5-year-olds, and then I was hunting my 4-year-old. So that's what I was hunting today. And my 4-year-old disappeared, and the 1.5-year-old kind of run back and forth in the road. She'd go up on the bank, and she'd come back. And my 2.5-year-olds, they disappeared for a little bit. One of them showed back up and then went back in the woods. Well, about 2 minutes into this, and the reason I know it was 2 minutes because I had it on my GoPro, and he opens like 200 yards back up the ridge. So the bear had never crossed the road. They had rigged it from up there. And I don't think, I went back and watched the video. I don't know that my young dogs, they smelt it, but I don't think they knew the direction. And I think that's what throwed him off. He did, because he had turned himself. And man, this is the wonderful thing about hunting hound. Like, when he rigged, he turned his body to the direction he wanted to go. And if you guys rig, you've seen that. So anyway, he took off. He opened about 200 yards. Well, they went to him, but he was done checking out of there, and he went all the way up to the top of that ridge, which was a good haul, and cut back across the road. Well, I drive up the road to try to cut him off, or to get up there to cut them off. And they were all going the opposite way. And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Well, my one little female, my 2.5-year-old female, she come through with him, but she was way behind. He was like literally 700-800 yards by the time she crossed the road. Well, and here's where patience come in, because normally I would assume the dogs went backwards and I'd have start toning them. Well, I didn't. For whatever reason this morning, I had patience. The Lord was with me. And so I just sat there. Well, they all crossed the road and started heading in the same direction. And I'm like, okay, well, they're a half a mile behind by now. So I holler at my buddies. They come around the mountain, and they're going out the side of the north, and it's steep and rough and rocky and ledgy. And Spook gets way out the mountain, and he turns and almost comes straight. So I book it down in between the mountains on the road. And literally, when I get to where he's going to cross, the bear runs out in front of me, small bear. So I literally jump out of the truck and catch him. And my thought process was, when the other 4 come through here, I'm going to catch the 2 older dogs, the 2.5-year-olds, and I'm going to let the 1.5-year-olds run it. I'm just going to let them, training session. That's what I'm going to do. Well, they get into where he cut and comes down the mountain, and they keep going. And I'm like, all right, this is a circus. So I drive back up on the mountain, and about the time I get back up to where he crossed the road, they start to drop off the mountain. So I turn and I go back down the mountain, but they're a mile from where he come off. Like, they're a long ways. And long story short, they come off the mountain a couple contour lines and fell treed. And I'm like, okay. So, yeah. All right. So I pull back up to the top of the mountain, and I walk up, and I walk out the mountain. It was 2.3 miles from my truck to the dogs. So, it's hard on a fat boy. I can tell you that. Lord. So I go out the mountain, drop off the mountain, and sure enough, they got a bear. And I'm thinking it was the sow and the cub. I feel like that Spook brought the cub out, and they went on with the sow. So I went back in my Garmin and started looking at the track, because they run almost the same track that he did. but right where he cut down the mountain, they actually had went up a contour line and went around. So anyway, that was my day. My knees killed me from walking off the north of the mountain. It's so steep and rocky and rough, and it's awful. And I don't even know where we were going with that. Though. Yeah, I'm tickled. The young dogs are, I mean, they're doing okay. They all got holes in them that I could pick apart. And my buddy told me this evening, he goes, "Man, you're just too rough on dogs. Well, not like rough physically, but like picking them apart."
Particular, yeah.
Yeah, and I know what I like. I know what I want, and I have a hard I've had a couple really nice dogs through my career, and when they set the standard so high, it's like, ugh, and you
always are going to measure everything to those dogs.
Yes, and it's torture. It's absolutely torture.
It is, yeah.
So. But yeah, that was my day. I don't even know where we were going with that, but that was the day that I had, and I'm happy. I got my steps in. It was actually right at 5 miles that I walked today. So I got my. And
it's been a lot cooler this week. That's been a blessing.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be like this weekend. I don't know if y'all are going to hunt this weekend, but it's supposed to be nice Friday, Saturday. So
yeah, we planning on hunting.
Yeah.
Usually towards the end of the bear season, I'd be heading off to Wisconsin for about 2 weeks, but the last couple of years I haven't been able to go.
Now, do you run up there, Jason, where the wolves are, or are you out of that area?
It's kind of borderline to where the wolves are. It's up there next to Superior, Wisconsin. It's in the northwestern corner, kind of where it joins Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
I hunt with Mike and Cole Edwards and Dan and Jonah Place up that way.
Yeah, and you mentioned it before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got a lot of bear up there. Really nice place to hunt.
Nice. Gosh, them wolves would scare me to death.
Yeah, on one side of the road, the last time I was up there, they had an issue with a wolf, and I think he took out a couple of dogs. But luckily for our sake, he stayed on that side of the road. But they are up there, and also been to Baraga, Michigan, and hunted with Rick Grunch and Brian Smith and his dad Louie up that way too. But that's a nice place to hunt as well. But they don't seem to have the bear population like Wisconsin has got.
Yeah. Well, so talking about bear population, I got to ask you, how is it up in your area? Because I know that did the mange get to you guys, or have y'all seen an increase, decrease? What are y'all seeing?
For the last couple of years, really 2 to 3 years, it's been kind of devastating. I mean, it's kind of took the wind out of your sails, so to speak. You put all this time in a young dog, and then you can't find the bear to put it on.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily, this year, like I've told several people, it's not as good as it has been, but it's better than it has.
It's looking up, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not as good as it used to be, but it's better than it has been the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's looking better.
Yeah, we have been blessed. I'm sure, we see a case of mange here and there, and over the past, I've seen it once or twice. We haven't been inundated with it yet, like up in the Shenandoah. And from what I'm hearing from the biologist and some of those guys, that it's kind of stuck at the James River, which is Botetourt and Bedford area, or Botetourt. And I hope it stays on that side and don't come on down to us. But our population it has dwindled some. I told a guy this yesterday and you and I just talked about it. 20 years ago, catching 5 bear in a year was a good year. And, now, we're way past that. It's really good. It's like you said, it's good for the dogs. You get a lot of exercise, a lot of reps in. And it's still better than it's ever been. But at the same time, I'm seeing a decline. It used to be that you could go out pretty much every day. There was a 5-year period where you could go out about every day and catch a bear. and we're not hitting that now. It's every other or every 2 days. So
well, what I started doing back when I started hunting, I kept a log of how many bear that I would tree in training season. And up until, I would say 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago, I was averaging 45 to 50 treed bear every training season.
wow.
Now that's a month and a half, and I would hunt about every day. Now, the last 3 years, probably averaging 5 to 6 bear. That's how much it had went down with the mean.
Wait. So you went from 45 to 50 bear in a season to 5 bear?
Yes, sir. The last 2 to 3 years, not counting this year because I haven't totaled that up yet, but I know it's better this year than it has been the last few years. But I went from 45 to 50 bear in training season to 5 bear the last 2 years.
And now, is that across the board for all the guys hunting? Or
I really can't speak for them because I don't know if they kept logs or whatever on what they done, but I've just always I'm a numbers type person.
Mm-hmm.
Just like to keep up with stuff, and you can judge a lot by that, and that's what I was going by.
Yeah, I'm like you. I jot stuff down.
Yeah,
I keep records and not for the bear count. I keep it for the dog's progression. Like,
yeah,
what are my young dogs doing? You know, where are my dogs at? So I log even if I just get outrun, I put it. If I have a train wreck, a cluster, I put it. I do everything. But I'm with you. I like to keep a log so I know.
Yeah. So I spend some of the time in December hunting the Wildlife Game Commission land up in Rapidan.
Uh-huh.
Then I hunt some private land, and then I go over to George Washington National Forest over there between Edinburgh and Luray.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And last year over there, I'd say altogether I hunted probably, it was in between 7 and 10 days, and I never hit one bear track.
Wow.
And I have never been on that mountain and not hit a bear.
Well,
I don't know what it'll be like this year.
Hopefully the population comes back a little bit. Now, I know that you guys don't have a 3-day season now. Did you have it last year?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And I know that one of the big topics in our area is the mature sow kill is like out through the roof. Not just a sow, but those 3 and 4 year old sows that are actually having cubs. Like that kill ratio, harvest ratio is through the roof. And you know, us as hunters, we've got to do better managing that because you can't bear the fruit that's feeding you, right?
Right, exactly. Yep. So it's like when you take a sow out, you're taking actually 3 to 4 bear out, really.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if you look at over a 10-year period,
yeah.
if you do the 10-year, if you just do the 5-year, if you do a 5-year plan and she has 2 cubs a year, that's 10 bear. And then by the 4th year, her cubs are having cubs. So you can add another 5 bear on that. So that's 15 bear in a 5-year period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I don't know if people look at it like that, but that's for sure. And I hate that for you guys because I never want to go back to those days because at my age, I don't know that I could hunt as hard as I did back then. I stayed in the woods and I walked a many, many mile through the seasons and never heard a bark.
Yep, I know the feeling. For the past few years, it's been pretty rough. You kind of question yourself, why am I still in this? But I guess you just love it so much, you just got to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything that you guys want to add, take away, get your input?
Well, asking us on to do this, I enjoy it. I would like to add that everybody to join the American Plott Association and support them and what they do. It's a great organization run by some really good people. Support your local coon club. Just get involved in the hound dog industry in any way that you possibly can, because we're up against it every day. And people look at numbers, the lawmakers and everything else, they look at numbers. And when you got numbers on your sheets as your members or whatever, they're going to look at that. And if we can get people to join up and get involved, I think the future can be bright. But if not, I really don't know. It's kind of up in the air if everything's going on. But
well, I posted a thing yesterday, and I stole it from a guy in California that Fred Bear had put on, and it said, "Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up before I misspeak and say something that it's not." But this is the quote that Fred Bear had put: "If you're not working to protect hunting, you are working to destroy it."
Yep.
And you're right. You know, with the times changing, the population in Virginia alone is, I mean, you look back in the 1940s and we were, 2.5 million people. In 2023, we're over triple that. We're at over 8.5 million people. Our lands are slipping away. The national forest is still here, but it's really, you can't hunt the private land like you used to. It's pushing everybody to the national forest, and there's only so much national forest land that you can hunt, and then it gets overcrowded and over pursued and everything else. But
that's the thing too with private land. It seems like where we're located at, Northern Virginia, like the Northern Virginia counties, they have a real high density of population, and a lot of those, when they retire, they move down to our way. And the land that comes up for sale, none of us locals can afford to buy it. They're the ones that can, but when they move down here, they want to change our way of life to their way of life that they had in the city part. Like if they own one acre of land, they think they own 100.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of sad the way that all works out. But another thing I would add is for hunters, I don't post much of my hunts, maybe some dogs or something, but I would really watch what I social media.
Yep.
Because it can be used as a tool against us all.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't post. Our group really don't post a whole lot of anything until after season sometimes. And I do a few reels for the social media. But some of those reels are last year. Some of them maybe this year. Like I'd mix and match in that way because, it is what it is. But I'm very clean on what I put on there.
Exactly.
So,
like I enjoy this sport and I love it a lot, and I want to see it around for the younger generation. So that's the only reason why I'm adding this stuff in there, is I like to see it preserved.
Yeah. Katie, what say you?
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I just want to promote the hounds and the hunting in a positive light, and anything we can do to get others involved. We were lucky enough to meet the Shiflett family, and hunters don't cost a bug for the bear hunting. So anytime we can get kids involved is a good thing. Yeah,
that's like I said, that's our future. I mean, we've got to get these people involved, the kids involved, and, have them understand, why we do what we do. And like I said, my daughter, Maddie, she loves it probably just as much. She loves the dogs. And Katie, I see that being you. She loves the dogs. She loves being out with them. She could care less about the animal. She loves to take pictures and show her friends. But that girl's been under, I don't know how many trees since she was 5 years old. She's 14. And I countless trees. And not once has she ever asked to harvest one. She don't want to do it. She don't care. She just wants to be there with the dogs.
Right. That's me. I cried the first time I was supposed to shoot one, and I ended up going through with it, but I'd rather somebody else take care of that.
Yes.
I've never seen a more bear to die than she shot. It set up there probably 30 to 45 minutes, and I had to calm her down, and she was crying. I said, "It's okay, Kate. It's part of life."
I mean, somebody ate it, but still, it was used, but
And you know, that's something else we preach to our kids, like especially in my family. If you're not gonna reap the harvest, then we don't take it. If you're not gonna put it on the table or you're not gonna use it, then that's a waste of that animal's life. We don't do it.
Yep. Save it to run again.
Yep. Well, guys, I really appreciate you taking your time and coming on and talking about those things. I really enjoyed meeting y'all and helping you guys out, and I look for that friendship to continue. So if there's anything my way that I can help you with, you guys got my number. Text me, call me, whatever.
Good.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys, until the next time, thank you for helping us teach, train, and learn.